Big Bear Flight. Glad to have you in sight. Over. We are approaching our target. Over.
Alright, welcome back. Today, we're going to just showcase the game that's already actually been showcased on the channel, the European Air War. It's about a 25-year-old game at this point, I think. Maybe 26? Can't remember. 1999 or 98 that it was released. Might have been 2000. But anyway, it is, as far as I'm concerned, the most authentic Second World War combat flight sim that I've played. And by authentic, well, it doesn't necessarily mean realism. In terms of like realism, consider flight models and damage models and all that kind of stuff. It is dated. There's nothing much you can do about that. In terms of like the graphics themselves, you know, modern flight sims, you have that kind of fidelity that lets you simulate picking up dots and planes at like very far out ranges, whereas in this game here, it only appears as a pixel, and they are very pronounced. As you look out on the horizons here, it's not that hard to see. There you go, you can actually see the bandits off to the left there. So we're currently flying a bomber escort. There's the bombers behind us, we just passed over, and we have picked up bandits coming in on the left here. So we're gonna give the order to drop tanks. Squadron, drop tanks.
This is Red 2. Copy. Drop tanks. This is Red 2. Roger. Releasing tanks. This is Red 3. Roger. We're dropping tanks. This is White Flight. Roger. Releasing tanks. This is Blue Flight. Roger. We're dropping tanks.
Yep. And now we're gonna order Blue Flight to engage this first set of bandits.
Blue Flight. Copy. Engaging bandits.
There's gonna be quite a few squadrons coming in because I've set the game up to be pretty large. So you can see there, Blue Flight 4. They're turning into the left here, and they're gonna try. Well, I ordered them in a little bit too late there, so they sort of just flew past that first set. But that's all right. There's plenty more bandits out here. There they go. There's next set over here on the right. I'm gonna order White Flight to engage.
This is White Flight. Roger. We are engaging.
They'll now break off there. And we're gonna keep Red Flight with me. Take on the last few ones. So going back to the authentic versus realism argument and debate. In terms of authenticity, we're just looking here the amount of aircraft that are involved right now. Let me order Red Flight to engage.
This is Red 3. Copy. Engaging bandits.
It's not that realistic because for a bomber escort mission at this time of period of the war, there would be far more aircraft involved. The bomber formation that we're escorting right now is too small, and the amount of enemy fighters coming in, we are outnumbered, probably about 5 to 1 at this point. It should be a little bit higher than that. But compared to the other modern flight sims, right, it comes the authenticity debate. Is they don't get close to this. You won't get the kind of environment that we're currently engaged in. But you have the simulation of close to probably about 100 aircraft in the air. It is possible in this game to get up to about 250 aircraft, so you could get something that is probably close in terms of like realism, where you've got a very massive bomber formation and hundreds of enemy fighters coming in at you. But I have not been able to find a setting that allows me to enable that. It is part of the game in the files, but for some reason my version of the game that I have doesn't have it enabled. So I'm gonna need to do some tinkering there. So bomber escort, if you want to get as many bombers to the target, which is what our job is you need to do what I've done here, where we break off all the different flights and have them engage the enemy fighters before they reach the bombers. And our job here, at the beginning at least, is not to shoot down enemy aircraft. It's to break up the formations. Once you break up the formations, it's really hard for the enemy to actually shoot down many bombers before they reach the target. Just checking around.
Watch it! You've got one on your tail! Break left! Break left!
Well, there we go. That's another part of the authenticity that I'm talking about. It's the comm chatter. You don't get this kind of comm chatter usually in quite a few games. What is going on with that B-17 there? Eesh. Yeah, that guy is going off places. Now the AI in this game is really good. You can get into some really nice dogfights, and the AI can keep up.
6 o'clock.
Especially if you put yourself in an outnumbered situation. Yeah, works out really well. It's a lot of fun. Okay, we're swinging in behind the formation here. Try to see if we can shoo away some of these bandits. Yep, they're all now trying to get in jockey for position. Just make sure that we don't pick a bandit up on aisle 6. Alright, here we go. A little bit too far, and he's waving off now. We'll let him go. This part here is usually as unrealistic as it
10
gets.
o'clock.
If you get this close to the bomber formation, usually in real life at least, the accounts, B-17, well, any kind of bomber gunner, they don't take the time to identify friend or foe when an aircraft is coming in through the formation. Their doctrine is to just blast anybody and everybody that gets in through the formation. But in this game, the AI can differentiate quite well, friend from foe. Okay, we got some hits on this guy here. Oh, going to the vertical. Quite dangerous. Quite dangerous. We killed a lot of speed.
Good kill. Good
Splash
kill.
1. Okay, almost stalled out there. We haven't picked up anybody behind us. That's good. Want to try and stay in this position to the bombers so that we can peel away any more fighters that are attacking. Oh, we're looking good so far. Ah, there's one right here. Swing in behind him. I lost him. There it is. Okay, well, we went across by a very dangerous situation here. Got some hits on him.
2 o'clock.
Okay, he's going vertical again. We'll follow. Getting close to stall. Come on, come on.
Good kill. Good
Slash
kill.
2. Okay, we are stalling out.
109.
Oh,
to the 7
okay.
o'clock low.
Have stalled out. Kill throttle. Extend full flaps. Recover. Okay, retract flaps. Alright, we're good. Whoa, okay, that's close. Yep. That's a 109. I'll pass by him. Overshot. There he is.
109. 3 o'clock.
Get in behind this guy here. Okay. So anyway, going back to my initial point of making. There's a lot of emphasis on air combat maneuvering in basically any of the genres. Well, from my point of view, there's usually just two main camps. There's the World War II side of things, then you have the modern side of things where you're in, you know, radar-guided missiles and the modern jets and whatnot. Those are usually the two big camps of flight combat enthusiasts. You then have the niche groups of people in the middle that like Korea, Vietnam, the early Cold War and that stuff. But the thing is, right, problem, especially with the World War II flight sim as I've seen it so far, is that we have adopted too many, I think the right term is anachronism, where we're using modern, not just terms, but like ideas and theories, like Splash 3 there, and implementing them in the way that we play the sims. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to, how you want to play a game, it's completely up to you, but I just wanted to put it out there.
We are at IP and commencing bombing run.
Alright, that's the bomber squadron leader there. So we have suffered quite a few losses, but the majority of the bomber formation is still on time and on target. Right, so what was I talking about? Right, the adoption of modern air combat maneuvering theory into World War II combat flight sims. Like, the concepts of like energy maneuverability, EM diagrams, and then air combat geometry, so like 1 circle fights, 2 circle fights, you know,
This is Colgate Control. Mission accomplished. Good show. Over.
okay, we're just gonna follow through the bombers here and continue with the mission. We could end it here and we'll get the after action report, but we'll just continue here. So yeah, so I was talking about air combat maneuvering, air combat geometry, 1 circle fights, 2 circle fights, rate versus radius fighters. These are all modern inventions. These things were really developed in the 60s. In the Second World War, it's very hard to find any evidence that suggests that anyone in any of the air forces really, oh, there's the target that's being struck by our bombers. There really is not much evidence to suggest that anyone in any of the major air forces in the Second World War ever had quite the knowledge regarding air combat maneuvering that we do now. It's very, very hard to find instances where anyone had doctrines or training as to whether to enter into a 1 circle or 2 circle fight if you're up against a 109 and a P-51, or if you're in a P-47 against a 190, or any of this or that. And even energy itself, it's very hard to find cases where the Second World War combat pilot would refer to energy states. It's usually just down to altitude, airspeed, and then engine performance at different altitudes. You don't hear like the modern ways that modern fighter pilots will talk about energy states and how they describe themselves in a fight, or analyzing a flight report, a combat report in a training exercise of some kind. All the terminology is all different, and from what I can gather, from what I've read so far on memoirs of Second World War fighter pilots on all sides, their thoughts and theories on air combat is very, very, very different, and it's nothing like how the flight sim community has sort of like embraced and adopted the way that they play their games. And I think one of the biggest reasons why is, as I've said here, most modern combat flight sims don't have battles that are like this large. And your standard battle over Europe is basically an extremely large aerial engagement. It's very rare to have instances where it's just a handful of 51s or just a 151 going up against a 109 or a flight of 109s, and then they just duke it out over France or occupied Europe. That's not quite how it really occurred. Those cases where those events do happen, they're like the exceptions. They're not the rules to how aerial engagements were in the Second World War. Aerial engagements were extremely large matters where it's full squadrons and wings that are going up against each other, and they're all trying to stick together and not get killed. And there's usually, in most of the documents that I've managed to find, a very big emphasis on team fighting. It's always about having all your wingmen follow your leader, and then the leader follow his flight leader, and the flight leader follow the squadron leader. Like, it's a really, really big team engagement that goes on. And this is where, as far as I'm concerned so far, European Air War, this game, is the closest in terms of authenticity where you can get to that. As you can see here, throughout this whole engagement, the way that we split up the flights, kept up with the bombers. We had the mission to protect the bombers, outnumbered easily 5-1 in terms of fighters, and yeah, we basically, kind of survived here. If this was a War Thunder match, for example, like, everybody would be already dead, because we went up against easily 4 or 5 squadrons of 109s and 190s. We only had a squadron of P-51s defending this bomber formation. If this was recreated in War Thunder, assuming you had that many players all get into the same lobby, which is possible because other people have done it, we'd all be dead by now. The 51s would have been wiped out, and all these bombers here, they'd be destroyed in like 2 passes or so. But yeah, this game has done a really, really good job in trying to portray a kind of authentic viewpoint of Second World War aerial combat. Okay, so this fight is pretty much over. We have got all the bombers out from the target. Enemy has withdrawn. I believe I've managed to get across in this video all the main points that I wanted to. So yeah, I'll just end the mission here. Let's just have a look how many... Yeah, we got 3 kills out of that. 33 out of 36 of the bombers hit the target, so we lost 3 en route. We got a total of 4 bandits shot down, so one of our wingmen shot somebody down. And yeah, that's the end of that. So, if you found this video interesting, or yeah, you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.